And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Look, we got to get there. So hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share because the insanity, it's only just beginning. And as we predicted, the government shutdown, yep, it occurred last night at midnight. And we know that this is the Republicans' fault because Trump and his pundits have lied through their teeth, blaming it, of course, on the Democrats. Now, this morning, MAGA Mike Johnson, he told Maria Bartiromo that with this shutdown, Chuck Schumer has just handed the keys to the kingdom to Donald Trump. No, he really did say that. Play the clip.
President Trump has said, he could use this as an opportunity to further cut government and turn some of those temporary furloughs into permanent job cuts. Speaker, can you assess what you're expecting in terms of the job cuts and how severe they could be?
Yes, the president and I have talked about this at great length. While a shutdown is very damaging for real American people who depend upon government services, it can provide an opportunity to downsize the scope and the scale of government, which is something that we've always wanted to do. And so in a way, Chuck Schumer has now handed the keys to the kingdom to the executive branch under President Trump to do some things that we would not otherwise be able to do because we would never get Democrat votes for them. Now, Russ Vought is in charge, as you know, of the Office of Management and Budget, and it is his responsibility to look at all of this and make very difficult choices. He gets to decide now what services are essential, what programs and policies should be continued, and which would not be a priority for taxpayers. That is what is about to happen, and Chuck Schumer has allowed that. And so from his political perspective, it's a pretty massive backfire. And there's a real opportunity for government to work more efficiently and effectively for the people if those decisions are made.
Well, I mean,
wow, and wow. That Trump could use this as an opportunity. In fact, it's the topic of my Substack from this morning. Let the shutdown games begin. You see, as I start off my Substack, that's a line that I used to hear when working for Trump. The art of the deal is making them suffer until they break. That's not negotiating. That's sadism with a pen and a contract. And what we're watching in Washington today, all right, the government shutdown, the finger pointing, the chest thumping, it's Trump's ethos spread across the entire political bloodstream. It's not about compromise. No, it's not about governance. No, it's about inflicting enough pain until someone else folds. Problem is, when the government shuts down, it isn't the politicians who suffer. It's you. It's me. It's America. Well, George Stephanopoulos, he also spoke to MAGA Mike Johnson. They're making the rounds, all right? They want to control the messaging. So again, Stephanopoulos spoke to MAGA Mike, and he again lied through some truly tough questioning about the budget proposal. Play the clip.
The Democratic proposal is designed to prevent millions of Americans from losing their health insurance, losing Medicaid coverage, or paying higher health care premiums. Why are you against that?
That's an absurd statement, what you said there. Let's be clear about what happened last night, George. No, George, let me tell you what happened last night. Everybody can go and review the facts for themselves. 44 Senate Democrats voted to reject a clean, nonpartisan continuing funding resolution to keep the United States government open. The Democrats said instead that they wanted to give health care to illegal aliens instead of keeping critical services provided for the American citizens. That's what happened, plain and simple. Every Democrat in the House, except one, voted against the clean continuing resolution. It was nonpartisan in nature. There are no policy writers on it that Republicans favored. It's exactly what Chuck Schumer and other Democrats voted for in March. But they've changed their tune. They changed their tune because Chuck Schumer is having political problems right now. That's just a simple fact, and everybody knows that he's trying to outrun the far left portion of his base, so he's decided to inflict pain on the American people.
Here are facts. Here are the facts. The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants cannot buy health care under the Affordable Care Act. They cannot receive health care subsidies. No. Illegal immigrants are ineligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Program. The Democratic bill does not make them eligible.
It does, actually, because what it does is it unwinds the changes that Republicans put into the big, beautiful bill, the big signature legislation that we passed and signed into law on July 4th. That has been very successful in shoring up Medicaid for the people who are actually eligible to receive it. What we did in the bill, and the CBO just verified this 3 weeks ago, the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan arbiters of everything up here, they said that those provisions have helped to reduce premiums. Why? Because we got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid, illegal aliens.
That is such a lie. Truth is that this is owned by the Republicans. Republicans hold both chambers of Congress. But here's the funny thing, control. It's not the same as power. See, in the Senate, they still need Democratic votes to cross that 60-vote threshold and fund the government. That's the part that, thank God, Democrats finally held strong. Now, George also asked Mike Johnson about the AI videos that Trump has been posting on his social media platform. Play that clip.
Let me ask you about President Trump. He had another deepfake video overnight. How does that help the cause of getting a deal and opening the government?
Look, the president uses social media for humor. He makes jokes. He does lots of things. What the president did in showing leadership, though, 2 days ago, was he brought in Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to meet with me and Leader Thune in the Senate to try to work this out. He gave them unlimited time they had in the Oval Office, and they would not come to the table to do exactly, George, what they themselves have said repeatedly over and over and over.
Look, again, this guy spews lies like it's going out of control, like it's literally, like it's free, right? Now, meanwhile, Trump and his allies, they could do what they want. They could pound the table, but without some measure of cooperation from Democrats, nothing is going to move. George also tried to ask MAGA Mike about Trump's military address yesterday, but MAGA Mike didn't want to answer the question. Play the clip.
The president also said at the Pentagon yesterday that he wants American cities to be used as training grounds for the American military. Is this the highest and best use of the U.S. military, and is this the right way to train them?
I don't serve in the Pentagon. I run the House of Representatives. And what we need to be talking about today is real harm that the American people are going to feel because of what Chuck Schumer is doing. Let me tell you what's going to be
hold on a second.
Today.
As Speaker of the House, do you As Speaker of the House, do you believe it's appropriate to use American cities as training grounds for the U.S. military, calling those people in the American cities the enemy within? I'm asking you, as Speaker of the House, do you think that's appropriate?
I'm not going to comment on your characterization of what the president said. I didn't get to see that speech because I was a little busy yesterday. Well, you can take his quotes out of context, which you often do, and I don't think that's fair to the president. I'll tell you what he's done, though. He's put National Guard troops here in D.C. and cleaned up the crime problem. People can walk safely to and from work today because the president takes crime seriously. Some of the big mayors in some of these big blue cities are not, and I think that's probably what he was addressing there. But what we need to talk about right now, speaking of troops, is that they won't be paid right now because the Democrats are playing political games. FEMA is not going to be provided. FEMA services will not be provided that the government is now shut down. If you have flood insurance that you need to renew before the hurricanes come on, you can't do that right now. We have critical medical services for veterans and their families. I mean, suicide prevention programs. These are really serious issues that are being caused by the government shutdown. And we need the Democrats to put the politics aside and keep the engines running here. That's critically important for the American people. And it's stunning to me that they're willing to play games like this when they themselves have said, go watch the tape, throughout their entire careers, that this should never be done.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the funny thing is that you have a guy who acknowledges the importance of not shutting down government. And what do? They shut it down anyway. There's no compromise. There's no discussion. Just sign the CR. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance goes on Fox and Friends, of course, this morning, where he claimed that Democrats wanted to shut down the government because they think Trump is a dictator. Play the clip.
And people are going to suffer because of it. I mean, people who benefit from low-income food programs are going to suffer because of this. If you're flying today, I hope, of course, you arrive safely and on time, but you may not arrive on time because the TSA and the air traffic controllers are not getting paid today. Our military is not getting paid today, starting today. And obviously, the longer this drags on, the worse that it is for the American people. So we are where we are. And to your point, what do Senate Democrats ask for? Well, initially, they said that they wanted to shut down the government because Donald Trump was a dictator. Okay, that's absurd. Then they said they wanted to shut down the government because they wanted hundreds of billions of dollars for health care benefits for illegal aliens. That, of course, is also absurd. And now they're saying they just want to work on ensuring that Americans have low-cost health care. Well, I agree with them. Of course, we all want to ensure that Americans have low-cost health care. So let's work together on that. You don't.
Yeah. So work together. Instead, you make up stories, you lie, you go on Fox News, the propaganda network, and you just keep promoting the same misinformation, disinformation, malinformation over and over and over. Notice how every single person that has gone on television, every single person that has taken a position on the Republican side are all saying the same thing. Once again, it's the talking points memo that they get in the morning. Meanwhile, the Fox hosts also asked J.D. Vance about the Trump hats seen in the meeting with House and Senate leaders. Watch this. Play the clip.
So can you give us some insight into what they talked about, maybe how we can come to a compromise?
And the hats, the Trump trolling them with 28 hats.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. That's the most important part. There were also the Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable.
Well, you should be uncomfortable, you idiot. It's fucking unconstitutional. I mean, what do you mean? Oh my God, this is so funny. Ha ha ha. We're talking about violating the Constitution while you're sitting in the Oval Office. Moron. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer, and to those of you who know me, know I have no love for Chuck Schumer. I think Chuck Schumer has overstayed his welcome in DC. It's time for some new blood, some people with some real energy. Sometimes listening to Chuck Schumer, you could fall asleep even when he's outraged. Meanwhile, he goes on CNN this morning and he claims that he hoped the shutdown would make the GOP negotiate in good faith. And as I say, even in my Substack, good luck. All right? Don't hold your breath. I mean, one can hope. Sure. Possible? Doubtful. Play the clip.
To come together. And here's what we hope. Now that the Republicans have seen they don't have the votes, they've done it twice, they will sit down and negotiate in good faith. Even when we talked to President Trump at the White House, he knew that these dramatic increases in people's health care insurance was going to hurt him. And he said that. So I think there's an opening for them to sit down with us.
So in terms of an open...
Look, and finally, I want to show you a clip of Lawrence O'Donnell speaking with Representative Brandon Boyle, where they broke down the actual real-life effects that this shutdown is going to have on Americans. Play the clip.
One of the examples you've put out is in Speaker Mike Johnson's Louisiana district, a 60-year-old couple earning $82,000 a year. Their health care premiums will rise by almost $20,000, by 300% because of what their congressman is doing.
Yeah, ironically, Mike Johnson has one of the largest Medicaid populations of any district nationwide. But I do want to stress that, yes, this is dramatic and will be awful if you're on Medicaid, will be awful if you're on one of the Obamacare exchanges, will be awful if you're on Medicare. But it's actually the health care of all of us, regardless of how you obtain it. Because even for those of us who might not be on one of those programs I just mentioned, premiums are set to rise, and by a dramatic amount.
Yeah, look, let me tell you how I sort of lay it out, and I want each and every one of you to continue to parrot. Here's our talking point. The answer to this resolution is not in Congress. It isn't in the West Wing. It isn't in the Senate or in the House of Representatives. It's in the homes of the American people. You. When workers start missing paychecks, when veterans are turned away from offices, when healthcare subsidies vanish and families are hit with skyrocketing premiums, when the public begins to feel the pain in their wallets and at their kitchen tables, that's when the pressure breaks the impasse. Because the key to resolution here is outrage. Ordinary voters, you, me, us, furious at being pawns in this political hostage crisis. It will demand relief from our representatives. We will force movement where Washington's power players refuse to. That's the message of the day. Our voter outrage. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.